How much income do you get? How much income does your partner have? Many people think, okay, I have the budget, so that means I'm set. But on the other side, it's a lot of people have a lot of cash left over, and then what do they do with it?
Bringing someone in from the beginning and saying, I'm not the expert, just like I'm not going to write up a business contract.
Hello, and welcome to Express Yourself Podcast. We're your hosts, Vanessa Martinez
And Lauren Genuardi. And we're coming to you today to talk about or to answer questions that come in from our clients or from other listeners.
So you're welcome to throw in your question. And what we'd like to do on the podcast is kind of incorporate a real life example of analogies that tie to something maybe not financial, just to make it a little more interpretable.
So, Vanessa, a question that came up is, how do I determine my path and where I want to go? How do I get started on it?
So I think everyone's path can be different.
Yes.
Mainly because your end goals could be different.
Absolutely.
In some cases, and this is where the comparison ends up hurting some people, right? Because you could say, oh, I didn't take the same path that Vanessa took. Well, that's okay. Do you have the same goals as her?
Yes.
Right. If you don't, then you're okay in your path. But I would say to start, you need to know where you are today.
Correct.
That is always the most important piece that I think sometimes we leave out, and we leave it out because we're so gung-ho on getting started.
Yes.
So we just want to move forward. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? But let's take a deep breath, sit down, grab a sheet of paper. There's millions of free templates out there for everyone on building out the net worth. So if you're not working with a financial advisor today, you can still pull it off of Google, get that net worth statement, and write down all of your assets, right? What is everything that you have? The house, what is it worth? What do you owe?
Yes.
What do you have in your 401k? What does your spouse have in the 401k? I think because it's with your employer, sometimes you forget about that.
Yes, that's a big thing we see. Sometimes people set it and forget it, which is not the best strategy there. You have to be mindful of that piece too.
Yes. And I mean, just a side note for that, you're correct. You have to go in there and actually move something.
Correct.
Right. That's because as the market's moving, trends are changing.
Exactly.
But that's a side note. Let's
different episode.
Yes. Stick to the path. Yes. Once you have what you own and what you owe and know that net worth, then you're free to say, okay, now I know this. Then I think the next step would be, let's build a budget. Because now it's the cash flow piece. You know assets of what you have and what you owe, but now it's time to do the day-to-day. How much income do you get? How much income does your partner have?
And how much are you spending? That's the scariest part for a lot of people is, okay, we know the money that comes in, but where does it go? And that's really hard for a lot of people to look at, myself included.
Oh, I agree. We have a platform that we use that can connect to your account. And I would say, I don't know what your percentage is, but I want to say probably at least 85% of the families I've worked with will not exactly know the full number of the expenses.
Oh, completely.
And it's not because they're not so organized, not because it's nothing bad. It's just something we're not used to.
Yes, exactly.
Right? No one taught us to do all these things. And in some cases, you're fairly blessed by having someone who taught you to do that. So that's good for you.
Yes.
But if you didn't, then don't worry, you're with the majority of us that
exactly.
Sometimes we don't know what's in there.
Exactly.
So now you have that budget. And this is one of the really, really important pieces because it's not many people think, okay, I have the budget, so that means I'm set.
Yeah.
Well, the budget should have given us an answer.
Yes.
Right. And that answer is, okay, this is how much I either need to stop spending, start making more to cover that, or whatever that is, adjustments that you need to make based on your goals.
Yep.
But on the other side, it's a lot of people have a lot of cash left over, and then what do they do with it?
Correct.
That's that next step of knowing not just putting it in a savings account, but taking that additional step and saying, okay, I need to invest it. How, when, why, how? Yes, that is such an important piece. Exactly. So I would say if we know now what we're doing, what we have left over, when do we make, I know we're only supposed to ask one question, but when do you get a two for today? When do we make that decision to have someone join us in this path?
Sure. I think I think it falls into almost two distinct buckets. You have people who kind of come in and say, I don't really know what I'm doing, or I'm not sure. I think I know what I'm doing, but not really. And so they will kind of engage an advisor at the beginning, or maybe they will engage an advisor to work with their younger children and say, like, hey, I have a kid who really needs to get started on the right path. How do we do that? So people come in the beginning and say, teach me. And it's a huge learning curve, but it's a great learning curve of like, hey, did you look at this way? And this is this type of an account, and this is what it means, and this is why we do that. And so we're happy to walk people through that and really start at the beginning or meet you wherever you are kind of in the process. So that's one set, kind of bringing someone in from the beginning and saying, I'm not the expert, just like I'm not going to write up a business contract. I'm not going to try to file complicated taxes. I would bring in an expert. In this case, people will bring in an advisor as their trusted expert. And then also, we have clients who come in and say, hey, I've been doing this for a while. I've been reading on, Dr. Google, and I've been trying to kind of follow trends, but I'm just not sure that I'm catching everything I should be. I want a second set of eyes. And so that's when a lot of people will come in too and say, hey, it's been going fine, but should I optimize this? How can I optimize this? And how can you help me in that process? And that's where advisors, we can really come in with a completely fresh outlook on what the situation is and what you have set up and say, hey, these things are awesome, and these are some tweaks that we can make that will help get us all to our goals.
It's funny that we think in this case, what you're saying is having that second set of eyes might require some change. Yes. But we're looking for kind of that optimal solution. And I think that specifically happened with us.
Yes. Yes.
That we've been in the industry for close to 2 decades or over 2 decades between both of us.
Yeah.
And then we realize, oh, wait, there is changes that we can make. And there is a way to optimize certain aspects of how we address clients and how we work with them. Yes. And over time, we both worked at separate practices and then met and had a wonderful relationship, but then also realized, oh, we can make some changes. We can do things that can be beneficial for our optimal goal,
Exactly.
which is satisfying clients' needs and helping us throughout their journey. And that's how we came to be.
Exactly. That's how Expressive Wealth came to be. We looked at him and said, hey, we've had great, successful careers and we've done things a certain way, but maybe we can do things a little bit differently. And yeah, that's our origin story. And as we know, life does get complicated, as it did. Yes. But there's always help that can come along the way. So as life gets complicated for any of you listening or watching, please send in your questions and we will gladly give you some answers or get you some answers. Thank you for listening. Take care.